We showed you this chart before the break. It was our mystery chart. Wonder if you got the answer. Semiconductor stocks were among the top performers the last decade. Let's talk about the impact of the Phase 1 trade deal with China on chip stocks. Right now joining us is Steve Milunovich. He is the technology strategist at Wolfe Research. Good morning to you.
Morning.
So is this have the decks have things cleared for you now? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse?
I'd say I feel about the same. We're actually underweight semiconductors in the short term, although positive in the long term. And, you know, the earnings were down 10% last year. The consensus is they're going to be up 15% for semis this year. I think that's a little bit aggressive. In terms of the trade situation, you know, I know that China's supposed to put an action plan forward in terms of intellectual property protection and not forcing technology transfer, but I'm a bit skeptical about that. You know, these are some deep problems, and after years of stealing IP, I don't think they get fixed overnight. But certainly in the short term, I think it helps the market. It helps Trump's reelection prospects. Okay, so who would you buy and who would you stay far, far away from? Well, so first of all, as a strategist, I don't have stock recommendations, but we do have a screen that we use. And in the semiconductor space, we like Teradyne and Lam Research. So the semi-cap equipment names have been doing extremely well and are just incredibly required. Skyworks, which is a play on wireless and 5G. Micron, you're starting to see a little turn in the memory business this year. Microchip, which is calling the bottom. And TI, which is suffering a bit because of their exposure to autos and so forth, but has come down and looks fairly inexpensive at this point. You mentioned 5G. Everybody's going to, I mean, this is going to, everyone says 2020 is supposed to be the year of 5G. Is that right, or is that early? I think it's a bit early. Yes, it'll probably give Apple a little bit of a boost late in the year when they have a 5G product, but the real benefit of 5G, likely long-term, is going to be in enterprise applications, Internet of Things. So I do think it's a bit overhyped at this point, but given a number of years. Who's the winner, though, when it comes to the semis, when we get into that space? Well, Skyworks and the folks who play in the wireless space, for the most part, are going to get some benefit this year. Some companies, I think Corning mentioned that, you know, their 5G business actually is stalling a little bit in the short term. So, but the point is, longer term, obviously the electronic content of products is only going up. So the value is shifting from the traditional computer systems companies to semis. So I just think they got ahead of themselves. How does this Phase 2 deal, to the extent that will become the next conversation, enter into this discussion? Yeah, I think it's going to take time. My guess is we're probably going to have another round of having to address IP issues. You know, the Commerce Department is supposed to establish restrictions on export for both emerging and foundational technologies. And that could come as soon as next month. And some of the emerging technologies clearly could be semiconductors. Foundational maybe could include semi-cap equipment. I mean, if you want to stop China, should they be buying all this equipment from Lam and AMAT and so forth? That hasn't really been discussed. Could you see the administration doing that at the expense of the U.S. businesses? It's a bit extreme, but they also seem to be taking a fairly hard line with China, so I wouldn't rule it out.